I often begin by drawing an outline around my page, a border that just it makes me conscious of balance and composition more than I am when it's just the edge of the paper. I'd like you to notice a couple things here. One is the way I'm holding the pencil, in this case the charcoal, and how lightly I'm drawing. Every line is tentative. You see me using the charcoal as a measuring device to get the angle of the face right? This is the way virtually every how-to book you'll ever pick up tells you how to draw faces. Here I'm just ghosting in, just in the lightest manner possible, the large shapes. I've discovered if you want to try to capture a likeness, it's best to try to get the large shapes in relative position to each other first, and then come back and do the details. Everything is very light. And even though I'm doing a portrait, and a portrait, the most important element is capturing a likeness. But in spite of that, I'm still very concerned that all of my marks be interesting marks. And again, that's why I'm holding my pencil in this side saddle manner, using my whole arm. The part of my brain that controls my arm, as I said, is a better artist than the part of my brain that controls my fingers. I like to think of my portraits as emerging out of the mist. Little by little by little, a likeness appears. Now, if you're one of those rare people that has a real knack for drawing portraits, you can just sit down and draw it, and for some reason everything's right, then this part of the DVD may not be for you. I don't know how you do what you do, and I've talked to lots of people like that, and I've never found one who can really explain to my satisfaction how they do what they do. It's just a knack. But it's so rare that you're probably not one of those. If you are, great, way to go. Please put together a DVD where you explain what is going on inside your head. Most of us have to work at capturing a likeness, and I've done a lot of work to try to learn the skill. And you're watching that here. Ghosting in the image, drawing with very, very faint lines so that I can come back later with dark lines. Here I've switched now to a soft charcoal pencil, whereas the vine charcoal was super soft. This pencil is harder than that and quite a bit blacker. And the vine charcoal smudges got me into the right ballpark. Now I'm coming back with the soft charcoal pencil and affirming or confirming the lines that I think are in the right position. Still using my pencil as a measuring device, making sure the eyes are level with each other. Here's another good trick while we're talking about portraiture. Try to have a mirror available, either a mirror on your wall or a little handheld mirror, and you can hold it up to the drawing or hold the drawing up to the mirror, whichever the case may be, and see your drawing in mirror image. That often helps you catch a lot of mistakes that you don't see when you're just looking at it straight on. Again, please notice the way that I'm holding the pencil. It is not, at this point, not that controlled death grip. Still sneaking up on the subject matter little by little, a little here, a little there. All the time my eye is flitting back and forth from the photograph to the drawing, from the photograph to the drawing. If this portrait were a real commission, I would probably do the sketch that you're seeing me do now and then put it aside and come back and look at it later, because I've discovered that when I come back after a little bit of time has passed, I see the whole thing with fresh eyes, and I catch little mistakes that I didn't catch the first time. Here's another high-tech trick that I'll give you for capturing a likeness in portraiture. Most of you probably have a camera on your phone. It's amazing how much taking a picture of this drawing and then looking at it on the tiny screen of your phone, so it's much smaller, will give you a new perspective on the drawing. It'll help you see things with new eyes. That's a good trick that has become possible just in the last several years. Now I have a couple more steps to go in this drawing process. You'll see that as the process unfolds. Right now I'm drawing with soft charcoal pencil. And of course this is just one of many, many ways to do a portrait. It's even one of many ways to do a portrait in charcoal. It's not the only way, it's just one way. But if you don't have a method yet, go ahead and copy mine until you invent a better one of your own. Some of you may be wondering, well, what about all those willow charcoal stick lines that are not in the right place? What do I do with those? Well, you're just about to see. There we go. I've taken a clean tissue and I'm wiping off the whole thing. What has happened here now is the vine charcoal has almost disappeared, although it's created a really nice gray halftone over the entire surface of the portrait, which I will use later when I come back with an eraser. So now I've picked up a different charcoal pencil. This is now a hard charcoal pencil, and retracing the details that are in the right place, making little corrections all the way along as I go, and doing more shading, as you can see. So this is now the third time that I've done this sketch. First with vine charcoal, second with soft charcoal pencil, then I wiped it all down with a clean tissue, creating this beautiful halftone grade across the whole portrait, and now coming back with a hard charcoal pencil. I did a little bit of shading with the soft charcoal pencil, but I'm doing quite a bit more now with the hard pencil. And this is, as I've said, a charcoal sketch portrait, not a complete or finished charcoal portrait. It is possible to do extremely refined and defined charcoal portraits. If you want to see some of those on my website, dannelsonart.com, click on the Portrait tab and look at some of my finished charcoal portraits. They look basically like black and white photographs. They're a lot of fun to do. And the technique is basically starts out the same as this, but just I continue or pursue the detail down to the nth degree. It's a lot of fun to do that kind of artwork. People ask me fairly often what kind of artwork I like to do best, and my answer to that question is the other kind. That is to say, I very much enjoy the variety that my art career allows me to practice. I don't do the same thing all the time. Most of my art these days are oil paintings of urban or city or small town landscapes. But I would be very disappointed if you were to say to me I couldn't do any more portraits. Likewise, most of my artwork is loose and impressionistic, and I enjoy that immensely, but I'd be very disappointed if you were to say I couldn't do any more realistic or even photorealistic stuff. I enjoy the variety. So what you're seeing here is, of course, a fairly loose portrait sketch technique. Perhaps in a future volume, we will go through a refined charcoal portrait technique. giving just a little bit of attention to the clothing here, getting some values in place so that it looks like this girl is actually sitting in a three-dimensional context. And now finally, the last step in this technique is I come back with a pencil eraser and hit the highlight. So now instead of looking at the dark shapes in my photograph, I'm focusing on the highlights, the lightest shapes. Another method for doing this is to take either what is called a dry cleaning eraser bag. It's essentially eraser crumbs inside a little fabric bag. You can pick those up at any art supply store. And it gives you a very wide eraser effect. A chamois will do the same thing. And again, most art stores have chamois in their drawing or charcoal department. A chamois is a piece of very soft leather, and it works very well as an eraser. And finally, there's just an old paintbrush that I've used to brush off the crumbs, and there's a finished charcoal sketch. There. Not too bad for a quick sketch. Now, of course, this is just one way to draw. I invite you to copy my way until you come up with one that works better for you.